Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be starting the final debate of the day. It's for the School of Medical Health and Sciences. On the stage, we have the candidates, Amar Saad and Rashisa. And then we have the OBs from the School of Medical Health and Sciences, Veena and Naveen. Before we begin, I'd like to inform you of the format for the debate. It will start with the intro by the EC as it is going now. And then we'll proceed to opening statements by the candidates. Then we'll proceed to Q&A from the OB and Q&A from the audience. And then we'll proceed to closing statements by the candidates. And then we'll conclude the event with closing statements by the EC. So without further ado, let's proceed. I'd like to invite the candidates to do their opening statements now.
Good evening, office bearers, the election committee, and our fellow students attending both physically or behind the screens. First off, we would like to thank you for this opportunity. My name is Rashisa Nadira Chandini, but I usually go by Undin. I'm a year 2 Sem 1 psychological science student, and I'll be running with Amar for this position.
Good day, everyone. I'm Amar. I'm a first-year medical student, to be specific, Sem 2. And we are your candidates for the School of Medicine and Health Sciences representative position. We are here today as students of the School of Medicine and Health Sciences, and our mission is crystal clear: providing the most pleasant environment while accommodating the needs of our students. Our commitment revolves around 3 key pillars: communication, unity, and collaboration. In addition to our previous roles, leadership roles, we believe being in the subcommittee has equipped us with what is needed to be fit for this role. As part of our manifesto, we have goals that we aim to achieve if we are elected as your representative. First, we'll continue and elevate the initiatives of our predecessors, ensuring open lines of communication between students, staff, and us, MUSA SOMAS. Our aim is to further focus on career development events to equip you for the future. Based on our experiences and my experience as an event officer in the subcommittee of MUSA SOMAS, we have observed that such events genuinely pique the interest of our fellow school students. Second, one of our priorities is to promote unity among different majors under SOMAS by organizing fun and interactive events or competitions that suit all of the students and bring students from various fields together. We can ensure that the events are suitable for students from different majors by having a diverse subcommittee where all majors are represented. We will be actively seeking collaboration with like-minded clubs and MUSA department as well to enhance our offerings and provide mutual benefits.
In addition to our collaborations for events, we also aim to host events with other school departments such as the School of Science, Art, Social Science, and Business, as we're aware that students in SOMAS take units from other schools as well. Third, we aim to connect with you through active social media, school briefings, events, and one-to-one sessions if requested by you. Our goal is simple: to make sure you're aware of our roles and to encourage you to reach out with course and welfare concerns. We aim to increase our exposure by increasing social media engagement through polls, Instagram takeovers, regular feedback checkups, and continuing the interactive posts ongoing. As the current publicity head in the SOMAS subcommittee, I believe I'm familiar with the procedures and the importance of student engagement through social media. I've acquired skills from the position that will help me in achieving our goals to enhance our social engagement. Lastly, we aim to continue the attempts to improve the relationship between us, MUSA SOMAS, and the faculty heads, particularly the medicine faculty heads, since the communication between both parties this year was minimal. We aim to resolve this by both liaising with MEMEDs and working closely with them, and also continuing the initiatives our predecessors have made. Thank you for listening. I'll pass the mic back.
Thank you, candidates, for the opening statements. Now we'll proceed to Q&A from the OBs.
Hello? Okay. Thank you so much for the opening statement. Thank you for joining the election this year. And I would just like to ask a few questions regarding your election guide. To ensure unity, you have mentioned that you would create mingling events. And could you elaborate more on how you would structure these events, considering that sporting events could become intense, which may perpetuate segregation rather than promote unity?
Thank you very much for the question. Could we have 30 seconds to discuss, please?
Sure.
So for to promote unity among different or among students from different majors, we plan to do such events such as trivia nights or also sports event as well. We do understand your concerns that it may become a bit hectic, but the purpose of it is not that the students go against each other. They're not going to compete against each other. It's just that it's going to be open to all students from different majors. So it's not going to be like medicine against psych or psych against nutrition or something like that. So it kind of lessen the intensity of that may arise. And also, when we do those events, we're planning to collaborate as well with other clubs such as that are responsible for specific departments in SOMAS to increase the turnout as well and not to make it like one versus another in a way. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you for the answer. I'll pass it on to Naveen.
Thank you very much for joining the election and good luck for both of you in the future. Okay, so questions from my perspective is, how will you ensure there is no disparities is going on between the departments in the SOMAS when you organize your events?
What Naveen means is that would you ensure that all the departments, students from all the departments will get the same share of events?
Thank you very much for your question. We understand that some students may be concerned about, let's say, us focusing maybe on one department over the other, and I do understand those concerns. We can do that by planning ahead the events that we plan to have the whole semester or maybe the whole year, so we know how many events we have for medicine, how many events we have for psych, how many for nutrition, how many for all. So that's a way we can also to not favor one department over the other. One as well is to also have a diverse subcommittee where all majors are represented in our subcommittee as well. Because let's say if we do make the mistake of shifting to one major, our subcommittees will make us aware that we're doing that, and we can get back on the right track as well. And we can also make sure we listen to feedbacks and complaints from different students and adjust accordingly. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the answer. Next question is, in terms of academic and non-academic events, what is the ratio you are aiming for?
Thank you for your question. For the events, academic related and non-academic related, we hope to host an equal ratio of both events, since we do understand that career development events we do prioritize that, as well as ones that prioritize students' welfares. And yeah, we'll also consider the feedbacks of our students, which events they would prefer more from our feedback platforms. Yeah, hope that answers your questions.
All right, thank you. I'll move on to the next question. Let's say you both have events in mind, in each of your minds. How would you determine which event is more important?
Can we have a bit of time to discuss, please? All right. So Regarding the way we can assess which event is more important than the other, it's something that I believe we can discuss amongst us or also among the subcommittee and take the opinion of the people in our subcommittee as well. Some of the stuff that we may want to consider, for example, let's say, what are we benefiting of from this event, for example, and the scale of the benefit of this event, for example. Obviously, some events will target a bigger audience of our SOMA students, and some will target a smaller audience in a way. And let's say if we have events, if let's say we have, as you said, we have like academic events and leisure type of events. Let's say if we have already conducted a quite good number of academic events, then we may want to consider leisure events, even if the opportunity of having another academic events arises. I hope that answers your question.
For the next question, so as being a student representative is not only addressing the students' concern, and as well as we need to instill some values or contributions to the students. So may I know what are the values you would like to intend to instill through your organized events to the students? Like what are the purpose of organizing events? What are the values that can instill the students with that events?
Sorry, the values that we prioritize in when hosting events?
Yes, like what does a student can gain
Oh.
joining your SOMA's events?
Can we have some time to discuss? Thank you for the question. So, for the values that we prioritize in events, we will prioritize more on career development. That's what they gain for the career development, and then leisure for the students' welfare. And we also will ask them regularly what they want to gain from our events, so that we can consider that when hosting the events after that. Yeah, hope that answers your question.
Follow up with that, you mentioned about asking the students' feedback. So what sort of methods you would like to approach to collect the students' feedback?
Thank you for your question. So, how to collect the students' feedbacks? We'll continue with what we have ongoing right now, which is we have a Telegram group chat for the whole faculty and also their respective majors for medicine and psychology. And then we're planning to make one for human nutrition as well. And then we also have an anonymous Padlet on our Instagram. And we will be planning to have a Instagram question box feedback weekly, which we will check regularly. Yeah.
To add up some things to what Andon said, because this time we have a rep from medicine and psychology, so it would be easier to gather physical feedbacks from our fellow students that are around us in medicine and psychology. I do understand we don't have a rep from nutrition, so for human nutrition, we also had the idea of implementing a student rep. However, due to their numbers being quite low, we might not want to do that at the beginning. We might just want to regularly check up with the people in charge of the sub-department and to gather constant feedbacks from the students of human nutrition as well. Thank you.
And as for the communication channels, will there be anything different from what we are doing this year? Will there be any changes that you will implement?
For us right now, we don't have any plans to move it anywhere. We consider moving it to WhatsApp. However, we believe that WhatsApp it's too much on their plate to put on WhatsApp because everything is on WhatsApp right now. So we aim to focus it on more Telegram, so they would have that platform just solely for school related. Hope that answers the question.
All right, thank you. Moving on, referring to your election guide answers, to your response regarding Musa Somas and Mamet's collaboration, how would you help ensure that feedback of medicine students are collected fairly and acted upon effectively?
One of our aims this year is to improve our relationship with Mohammed, as they are the mainly one that are responsible for the medical students in the past year, where they had a student rep that represented the first year medical students. So our aim is to liaise with them, work together very closely with them, and maybe be more involved in terms of the feedback that the student gathers. For example, as well, we'll try our best to be more involved with the meetings with the heads. That could be also done throughout liaising with Mohammed as in this term. There are the main points that we may want to do. And what we're trying to do is have the relationship with Mohammed is not only based on during the events, which was the case this year. We will try to maintain the open communication between us throughout all times. At the end of the day, we both have the same interest. We both have the same goals, which is the benefit of our students. Hope that answers your question. Thank you.
As a follow-up question, what line would you draw between Musa Somas and Mamet's? Where do you think our responsibility ends compared to theirs?
Can we have a time to discuss, please? Thank you. All right, so we understand that Mameds are only responsible for the medical students, and us being part of MUSA Somas, our priority are the School of Medicine and Health Sciences students. We do understand as well that our roles overlap quite a bit with Mameds. I believe that we have a lot of overlapping interests as well, so there isn't really, until now, there isn't really quite a clear line on where is Musa Somas and where is Mames in terms of the benefit for the medical students. However, for us our plan is, for example, to keep some things that are taken by Mames now. For example, they're the ones that supply the lab coats, the stethoscope, the books. We're planning to keep that to Mames as Mames' responsibility as well. And we're planning as well to be more involved in terms of the medicine orientation, because that will also give us exposures. Because also one of the problems in the current year, not a lot of medical students are aware of Musa Somas and what they do. So we're planning to take a bigger part in such events, in school briefings, and some of the interactive events for the medical students as well. Thank you.
So regarding to the medical students, okay. So since Mohammed's is the first contact point that having for the medical students, and most of the medical students join event organized by Mohammed's. So how will you encourage medical students, despite of their schedule, to participate in SOMAS events as well?
All right. So the thing is, when it comes to event hosting, is that if we want medicine students to come, then we would have to cater events that are suitable for the medical students and that are suitable for the time schedule of the medical students. For example, we can't host an event that's in week 12 and expect medical students to come. They won't, to be honest. So for us is to plan this quite well when we want to host the event and what type of event we want to host, which we can take the feedbacks of the students, maybe throughout social media or maybe physically by myself, since I'm studying with them, so I can ask my peers straight away and get feedback directly straight away. And also, to ensure that medical students will come to our events as well, we can also host events with Mohammeds as well to familiarize them at first with who are MUSA Somas and to gain more exposure as well among our medical students. Thank you.
Moving on to my next question, referring back to your election guide, you stated that you would have meetings with any students that may have personal concerns if they reach out to you. Do you see any topics or issues that you may not be able to help with? And if there are, how would you tackle this issue?
Okay, and thank you for your question. So for us right now, we don't have any problems that we think we can't really resolve, but maybe something like them failing an assignment or something. But that we will provide like moral support, as we can't really help them that much with that. But as time will go, we will try our best to be there for them and help them with any procedures needed, and yeah, be there, show them respect to people. Yeah.
I would like to remind the OBs that one last question only now. Thank you.
Okay, so since we only have one question left, I would like to ask, as you will be responsible for a team of subcommittee members, how would you ensure that the team is able to work effectively whilst keeping a positive work environment?
So to have a functional team and with a good working environment, one of our aims is, which I've mentioned before, is to have a diverse subcommittee where all majors are represented. That's one thing. The other thing is to maintain open and direct communication amongst all subcommittee members and us. The other thing is to maintain respectful environment, as that's one of the bases to maintain a healthy relationship amongst all of us and to be more productive and do the best we can do as well. And also the other things is to try and be as inclusive as possible, which we could include, be inclusive and listen to what every single person in the subcommittee has to say. And from our current experience as subcoms, we believe that open communication is key. And regular checkups, bonding, to build mutual trust and understanding between us is quite very important, and it will be very beneficial in terms of productivity in our team as well. Thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you, respected OBs and candidates, for this cross-questioning session. Now we'll proceed to Q&A from the audience.
All right, guys. So, firstly, great job so far. You've done really good in terms of answering the questions. So my first question is, in terms of your perspective, why is student advocacy such an important part of your role? And could you elaborate a bit more on this aspect of your job scope?
Thank you for your question. So for student advocacy, that will be our main priority as our representative, as their representative. That will be our like job scope, is to advocate them by making sure their concerns are heard, and we will do that by utilizing our feedback platforms and regularly checking on them.
We are the student reps, so our main purpose is to be for the student, help them whenever they need us and whenever we can. So that is the main priority and the main goal that we have as school reps. So definitely we put the interest of the student at the top of our priority. We can help them whenever we can. Thank you very much.
All right, good answer. So moving on, you talked a bit more about taking feedback into consideration when you deliberate which events you want to hold and not hold. So I'd say this is pretty good standard procedure when it comes to holding events. But apart from feedback, how do you decide which events you should and shouldn't hold?
Can we have a time to discuss, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
The mic's off.
Can you hear me right?
Yep.
All right. So for the type of events that we're going to have is something that we have to discuss with our future subcommittees. We will try to hold as much meeting at the beginning of the year to kind of plan out the whole semester and the whole year. For the type of events, obviously we would want to have some academic, some leisure events. We want to balance it out as much as possible. And the type of events as well, we can look at what our predecessors have done and kind of take the feedback of the students. Let's say this event had a high turnout rate, so we may want to do it again or kind of alter it in a better way or change it. And if an event that had a low turnout rate, we will know that this won't work, or so we won't do it, or we will change it to a better event if we think fit. We also, as I said, we're gonna have a diverse subcommittee, so different perspectives in the subcommittee will also be provided because we have students from different majors. So that will also help us to hold events that suits our different students. Thank you, Rashan.
All right, great answer. So my next question is, in your perspective, are you guys currently subcommittee members for SOMHS? What would you say are the biggest shortfalls for the committee this year, and how will you ensure that the same thing does not happen next year?
Thank you for the question. First of all, we'd like to appreciate our predecessors for all their initiatives, and we do feel that it's pretty content what they're doing right now, which is why continuing their legacy is one of our manifestos. However, we believe that our relationship with the medicine faculty is could be improved. So we would resolve that by trying to have regular meetings with them and be more involved with them by liaising with MUMEDs, and yeah. Hope that answers your question.
All right, great answer. So my last question is, given that you guys are respectively from the medicine and psychology departments, how will you ensure that there's no disconnect between you guys and students from the human nutrition department?
Can we have a time to discuss, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, so Tan, you stay in contact with Tan. All right. So when it comes to human nutrition, we understand that there may be some concerns that can arise for the human nutrition students due to the fact that there's no reps for them at the current moment. But we definitely need to listen to them as well and not be disconnected with them. Due to them still being quite a small department, I would say they have less than 100 students, if I'm not mistaken. Implementing a student rep for them, I don't think would be suitable at the current time. Hence, what we can do is we can stay in touch with the sub-department heads and the unit coordinators, and be constantly in touch with them, ask them if there's anything we can help with, if there's any issue, if there's something that we can do for them. And we'll try at best also to be in touch with the students, which I believe is a bit hard, because it's not like they have 1 year or 2 years, it's like they have different intakes with every intake has very little students. However, we will try our best to work on that and be in touch with them as well, and not only the unit coordinator. Thank you very much.
Great answer. Just to follow up, how will you make sure these students feel welcomed and they feel comfortable approaching you guys with their concerns?
So we can encourage them to approach us throughout. One of our objectives is to increase our exposure. So basically letting them know that we are here and what are our roles, and that we are their student reps and we are here to help them, guide them, or in any issue or problem that may arise for them, to make our role quite clear for them. And I think due to our approachable personalities, I think they can, it's kind of give us an edge. They can approach us when and wherever they want. So we kind of will have to utilize our social media as well, and also inform them in the orientation, or familiarize them with us in the orientations, and also having the diverse subcommittee, I think, will also play part in that. Let's say if we have few members from human nutrition as well, they are more involved with the other students, so they can inform them of who we are as well and what we do. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your answers, guys. Good job, and that's all from me.
Thank you for the question. Any further questions from the audience? If there are no questions from the audience, then we'll proceed to online question. So we have a question here. How would you resolve a situation where a student has reached out to you concerning their group mates communicating in a local language, and it has hindered the student's performance and interest in collaborative learning?
We do understand that this issue is quite common here in this university, as we also suffer from it quite a bit every now and then, and I think every international student suffer from this issue, or local as well. I think the best way is to address that is to take it quite seriously, because it's quite a serious problem when someone, especially if you're doing a group assignment or a group project where they speak a language you don't understand, it's quite unfair and unprofessional. So I think the best thing is to bring it up to the heads of faculties and to address the issue in a more serious matter. Thank you.
Thank you for the answer. If there are no more questions from the audience, then we'll proceed to closing statements by the candidates.
First, we would like to thank again the election committee and previous office bearers. We're delighted to have had this opportunity. Again, our mission is to serve as your voice, your bridge, and your dedicated partner in shaping a more inclusive and prosperous SOMAS community, always prioritizing the best interests of our students. Our primary goal is to create an environment where students' needs and concerns are not just acknowledged, but actively heard and acted upon. We want every student to feel valued and supported in their academic journey.
Should you guys require any further clarification or do have any additional questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us, as we are here for your best interest. Additionally, we urge you to exercise your right to vote, as your vote is crucial in driving positive change within our community. We genuinely look forward to the possibility of working as your representative in the upcoming year. Together, we can work towards making your academic experience even more enriching and fulfilling. Thank you all for your support, and we are committing to make your year better during our time as your representative. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you, candidates, for the closing statements. Before we conclude, I'd like to mention to people online who are listening and people here that the voting period is from 12 to 19 October. So please find the QR codes around campus to vote and available on social media platforms as well. And the Election Commission would like to thank the President, Mr. Ashwan, Vice President, Mr. Raj, Hadi as General Secretary, Mr. Dominic, and Mr. Minho for the support for today's arrangements. Thank you very much. Have a good day.